How does God participate in the world? God's participation in the world is very pervasive, but not easily recognized. People have great expectations of God once they accept that God is a reality. They expect God to solve their personal problems, to save them from their own calamities, to restore their loved ones when they are sick, to prevent death and difficulty for those whom they love, to bring about peace and equanimity amongst warring tribes, to effect sweeping change without upsetting anyone's concerns or priorities, and to bring about miracles great and small, yet in such a way that no one is offended, no one is challenged, and no one has to change. Given these kinds of expectations, which permeate your cultures and are part of most of the world's religions, it becomes very difficult to appreciate who God is and how God functions in the world. Let us, then, give a new approach and a fresh understanding. However, before we do this, let us say that when we give a simple idea, it will not be simple to understand. The simpler the idea, the more difficult it is to integrate it, to experience it and to apply it. Therefore, what seems easy can be more difficult. The quick and easy way can be the most difficult. A simple idea is more difficult to fully penetrate and to comprehend. Let us give you a simple idea now. God is reclaiming the separated through knowledge. Said in another way, God is calling upon you, and you have an opportunity to respond at a deep level. God is calling upon God within you, the part of you that is a part of God, the part of you that is in intrinsic relationship with God and with all life, the part of you that contains your greater purpose, mission and destiny in the world, the part of you that can recognize your true allies, your true partners and your true endeavors in the world. If you are not in touch with or aware of this greater aspect of yourself, which is knowledge, then God will seem very confusing and very complex. God will even seem contradictory. You may think, well, God promises peace, but where is the peace? God promises comfort, but where is the comfort? God promises reassurance, but where is the reassurance? I cannot see it around me. I do not feel it within me, so God must either be cruel, confused or weak. God reclaims you within the context of relationship. You reclaim God within the context of relationship. Here you come back into relationship together. Your relationship with God was never over. It was simply denied and forgotten, and other things came to take its place. You come into the world like an abandoned child. Through your experience here, you have an opportunity to recall the memory of those who sent you, members of your spiritual family, and their relationship with you, and the memory of your relationship with the source of all relationships. We teach the reclamation of knowledge. This is experienced through the reclamation of relationships with others, for alone you cannot know anything. Alone your knowledge will not be validated or verified. To be fully experienced, it must have an impact within the context of a real relationship, not a relationship with an idea, a theory or a principle, but a relationship with another. God works through knowledge in you. God does not interfere because God is not really welcome here. People expect great things of the divine, miracles, tremendous compassion and forgiveness, but they do not want any interference. Nobody wants a savior until they are desperate. Nobody wants freedom until they feel they are truly imprisoned. If God answered all your prayers, you would have to allow God to take over your life. God will not do that. You can have a life here that is imaginary or a life that is real. God brings you back to the life that is real, the life that you can know, the life that you can embrace and devote yourself to. Without this there is no real devotion, there is no real commitment, there is no real understanding, and there is no real security. God does not intervene. To fully understand this, you would have to have a complete understanding of God. This is far beyond your capacity at this time and in this context of life. However, you can gain some appreciation for this when you see how much you do not want your plans and goals to be interfered with. Like adolescent children, people want to be able to do what they want to do with little or no interference. It is only when they get into trouble or are endangered or imperiled that they want intervention from their parents. They want their parents to bail them out or to rescue them or to pay their expenses, but this does not verify or recognize a real relationship. This is a form of dependency and rebellion. And there is a great deal of this dependency and rebellion in the world. This is made ever more complex by the fact that people use religion and their claimed relationship with the divine as a justification for all kinds of acts of cruelty and attack. Thus, real religion is maligned, abused, compromised and invalidated because of its use by the ambitious and the fearful. You cannot come to God as a beggar or as a thief because God does not know you as either of these. You must come as part of creation, recognizing your own authority and your own place in life, and recognizing the greater context into which you fit and of which you are a part. It takes a new kind of education to teach this to you and to help you to reclaim this awareness. To sit on the sidelines and expect or demand or appeal or cajole the divine to intercede at your will, at your command, to be your servant and to fetch things for you, is so clearly ridiculous and so ignorant and presumptuous that you can see how false this is. You can see how nothing of any real value and merit can come from this approach and behavior. God is at work in the world, working through knowledge. God does not leave somewhere else and come here because God is God of the greater community. This is obvious. However, in the world's religions, this is not realized. Often it is assumed that God is preoccupied with this world to the exclusion of everything else. It is believed that there is God, the world and you. Everything else is just part of the background to this great drama between the human and the divine. However, God is God of the greater community, not only the greater community we have described but of all life everywhere. God does not come to pay special attention to the planet on which you live. God does not drop responsibilities elsewhere and become unusually concerned or preoccupied with human affairs, human demands or human expectations. God is at work everywhere reclaiming the separated through knowledge. And the reclamation must come through knowledge because knowledge is what redeems you to yourself and to life. Your personal mind cannot know God. Your personal mind can only yield to knowledge within you, and knowledge within you yields to knowledge in the universe. Then everything is set into right order. And with right order comes real relationship. With real relationship comes a steady flow of communication. This is what enables you to be a contributor in the world. Then, you are not merely an individual running around trying to make things happen and trying to acquire things for yourself. You become a translator and a communicator for something greater. This is mysterious. It is beyond definition, even beyond the theologies of your world. It is pure. It is untainted. It cannot be used or harnessed for political or economic goals. It is everywhere. It is natural. It is pervasive. It cannot be corrupted by human interference. Human interference can only mislead the perceiver, but the essence of God's work is beyond human contamination and beyond the contamination of any race anywhere in the greater community. Understand this and you will be able to have a different approach to your relationship with the divine and to the divine presence and activity in the world. How does God work in the world? What does this mean? What are some examples of this? God seeks to reclaim you unto yourself and to bring you back into your true relationship with life as it exists here and now in order to enable you to find your place in the world and to fulfill your specific role here. God amplifies knowledge within you and calls you to return to knowledge and to develop a relationship with knowledge and a reverence for knowledge. This restores your self-esteem. This also validates your authority, which you must exercise in order to approach a greater authority. You cannot simply give up your authority and try to yield to a greater power. This can never be effective. If you are to represent the divine, you must become a representative. You cannot come as a beggar. You cannot be passive. You cannot simply give yourself over. People try to do that because they are either too lazy or too unfocused to actually prepare for the role that they need to fulfill. They simply want God to do everything for them. This, of course, is impossible, for they must do most of the work. It is their efforts, their abilities and their accomplishments which they must experience, not God's. Giving up all of your authority, thinking you cannot make a decision about anything or anyone, denying your own perception and experience and giving everything over to God looks like a wonderful freedom and a wonderful escape. But it is not the way that will restore to you your true ability and your true value. God does not need glorification. It is you who need validation in the world. God is not driven by the ego desires that motivate people to establish their own self-importance. Do not think that God thinks like you, or God will seem terrible and contradictory, cruel or impotent. The disappointment and confusion that people have about the divine is based on the projection that the divine is thinking about life and about them the way that they are thinking about life and about themselves. God functions at the level of knowledge, which is a different kind of mind and intelligence from your personal mind. It is not conniving. It is not treacherous. It is not self-indulgent. It is not selfish. It does not use others for personal advantage. It is not competitive. It does not debate. It does not wonder. It is not confused. It does not need to make decisions. It acts because it knows. And between times of action, it is silent and present. It has absolute certainty and is infinitely patient. Knowledge will protect you, your personal mind and your body, but it will not prevent you from hurting yourself. Like God, it will not interfere when interference is unwelcome. Knowledge will provide all of the stimulation and all of the signs you need to make wise decisions and to choose wisely in your relationships. However, if you do not heed these signs and signals, if you do not listen, if you do not follow, and if you are not able to respond, then knowledge will not come and punish you. It will not criticize you. It will not banish you to hell. It will not condemn you, and it will not judge you. Knowledge will allow you to fail. Perhaps then you will come back to it again with greater sincerity, feeling a deeper need. Knowledge is completely honest. It is without conflict or deception. Your personal mind has conflict and deception. When something that is purely honest is dealing with something that is dishonest, it requires great tact and care. If you want to know how God is working in the world, then follow the way to knowledge, find your relationship with knowledge, and learn over time through many experiences how knowledge is working in your life. Then, within the range of your real experience and not in the context of your speculation, you will come to see, understand and appreciate the incredible grace, power and pervasiveness of God's presence in the world. You could say that God is working from the inside out, yet this is only partially true because God has agents in the world. God has emissaries, some of whom you can see and some of whom you cannot see. The unseen ones travel here and there, and they work with certain individuals who are showing great promise and with certain individuals who are well advanced on the path to knowledge. They give their assistance in such a way that their presence goes largely unrecognized. This is God working in the world. God works behind the scenes. God gives opportunities. God gives work, redemptive work. God gives problems to solve and directs you towards the world's needs. God does not come and fix things up for you as if you were a helpless little child. God teaches you how to fix things within your own realm, within the realm of human invention. Human life is a human invention.